Are we filming?
Yes.
Do you want me to do some more dance moves?
No. No, the internet does not want you to do dance moves.
I bet they do.
Yes, here we have the 2022 Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid, which has 32 miles of pure EV range. So is that enough to make Mrs. Jax actually love minivans?
All right, I need you to keep an open mind.
No.
No, you need to try new things.
Never.
You need to be open to new vehicles.
Never.
Well, no, but how is the Chrysler Pacifica as a minivan?
I don't like vans. So that's what we have is a van. And I just don't like vans. I don't know. I will never drive one. I feel like you see one on the road and it's like there's got to be a mom in that car with her 12 kids and they're going to soccer practice. And
that's literally what we've done with
that
2
may
kids.
be true. I like to be more mysterious on the road. You know, I don't want people to like know my whole life story because they can see the vehicle that I'm driving. I just don't like vans. Okay. Period. End of story.
See, minivans are all about space for both people and stuff. And the Chrysler Pacifica, in this regard, it doesn't disappoint. It doesn't necessarily separate itself from the rest of the class, though, either. When it comes to balancing space for people versus space for things, I think the Pacifica does strike a nice balance. We are a tallish family, and the Pacifica does have enough room for us, and it still is towards the top of the class in cargo carrying capacity. One thing to keep in mind is that the Pacifica in plug-in hybrid trim loses the famous stow and go second row seats, which fold flat into the floor. And I think this is a worthy trade-off, because while stow and go is pretty cool, I'm not sure that I would find myself folding the second row into the floor, removing the second row. I think I would rather have the 32 miles of EV range. Now, if you have more children, maybe your opinion is different, but if you have more children, don't you need more seats, so.
Okay, so I may not like the outside, but I do like the inside. I love the black and the leather, and I think it looks pretty smooth. So like when you're in it, you don't probably feel like you're a mom driving 12 kids to soccer. So that's a plus. Steering wheel's nice and like fat with like good thread. I just love.
It is surprisingly sporty.
I like the way it looks. The seats were comfortable. It's got heated seats, cooled seats, but not in the back, which our kid was upset about. And for like, how much?
It's almost 60 grand.
Yeah, I feel like they could have heated the back seats. I like the, what is that thing called? The display?
Screen.
The screen, thank you. I like that. I like everything. The buttons are good. It's got all the like cordless chargers? Wireless chargers.
I mean, technically that's the same thing.
Cordless, right? Same thing, right? So I was right.
Well, when you're our age, you think cordless phone, and that's really lame.
When you're old?
Well,
You calling me old?
we're in our 40s.
You're older. Okay, so I do like the way the inside looks, so I will give it that. The seat I had was comfortable, it was roomy. It doesn't have a ton. Like, I wanted a little more leg room. I'm 5'9". My kid behind me is 5'10". And yes, she's 5'10". I'm the shortest one in the whole family, thank you. And we were kind of tight. Not like tight, but like, I didn't have like a lot of stretching out space. Like if
Why
I was
don't
gonna
you demonstrate in the rear seats?
through there,
No.
go around. Okay.
The giant door.
Oh, the rear seat. Oh,
As you can see, it is quite spacious back here with the third row up. But the Kia Carnival actually has the Pacifica beat. Now the Pacifica does regain the lead when you fold the third row down, where it becomes the most spacious minivan that you can buy. And then if you collapse the second row or take out the second row, the Carnival and the Pacifica are about even, with the Honda Odyssey right there with them and the Toyota Sienna a little bit behind. In case you're wondering, here are the cargo capacity numbers for the 4 major minivan players. The Carnival, the Pacifica, and the Honda Odyssey are all pretty much neck and neck, with each kind of scoring advantages here or there depending on the seat configuration. The Toyota Sienna isn't too far behind until you get to the everything folded category, in which case it is noticeably smaller than the others. However, I don't think for most people's sort of normal day-to-day needs that the difference will really present itself. I think it's kind of academic.
Lots of good cargo space back here. This goes like really deep. Watch this. Unscripted, don't get mad at me. Look, I can like sit pretty low in here.
I literally did that in the Kia Carnival review.
You did?
Yeah.
It's like I
Thanks
knew.
for watching my videos.
I did watch it. That's where I got the idea. That's where I got the idea.
Okay.
And then what do these strappies do? Like pull it
That's
down?
where, yeah, you put down the
Like
seat.
flat back
The
or
flat.
forward?
No, it pulls them down into there.
Oh, into the well. So yeah, lots of good cargo space down here, more than I would have expected. So I mean, I guess maybe it's roomier than I thought. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
For what?
Roominess.
Oh.
Roominess.
Of course, if we're talking about how much a minivan can carry, then we also want to acknowledge how well it keeps the people inside entertained on those types of long trips that you would take in a minivan. I mean, the last thing you want to have to do while you're on such a trip is actually acknowledge your children's existence, am I right? I mean, except to make sure that they're all still alive back there. And guess what? The Chrysler Pacifica has you covered on both accounts.
Okay, so here's me in the driver's seat.
Well, that's me in the driver's seat.
Well, I'm me. So I mean, like, good. I like to drive with my legs spread out, or stretched out. So like, this is super comfortable. This is how I would probably sit and drive, right? So then you come to the back seat and see, like, that's pretty tight. Now, maybe if you normally have kids back here, but I can't go any further back. So if you have like a tall person who likes to stretch out, there's not a ton of seats here, or space. And it's got this little TV thing, which is pretty cool. And it has like a little remote right here. Look at the cute little pocket. Oh, it's precious. Each one has their own remote. That's clutch for children. Can you watch different things?
Yes.
Okay, this just went up a notch. So I do appreciate that vans have a lot of like fun little things. I appreciate it. But its own little remote pocket is, because they know kids lose stuff, so that's perfect. Space-wise, just not a ton. So that's, like, I've been in a Honda, what is that called?
Odyssey.
Odyssey. I feel like that has a little more space on the inside. Oh, I love the giant sunroof. What, panoramic sunroof? It's super bright and lets in all the light, and got the window shades.
You should sit in the third row.
Okay, so this is actually roomier than I would have expected. I've been in the third row of like a...
Odyssey?
No, I was thinking an SUV, like a top, no.
Well, yeah, like a Suburban or something.
Yeah, and I feel like it has a little more room than that. It's pretty comfortable. This is where my 5'10" kid was sitting, and I was sitting 5'9", 5'10", 5'9". You got space. I don't know that I'd want to drive for 12 hours in it, but you have good space.
Up front, you get heated and cooled seats with memory, a heated steering wheel, a panoramic sunroof, you got plenty of storage, you've got wireless charging, you've got surround view cameras. Oh, and because this is the S-line trim, you also have Napa leather trim seats with the S logo embroidered upon them, whatever that is. But since this Pacifica does have that package, you get a lot of blacked out accents, both on the exterior and on the interior. It's kind of why you have these like ridiculous black wheels, but whatever. And it does make the Pacifica's interior feel a little bit more special. The material quality is good. You got soft touch plastics and leather and fake leather pretty much everywhere. It's honestly a generally nice place to be. You also get Fam Cam, which is sort of a top-down view of all the passengers inside the Pacifica, with the ability to kind of crop in and specify which seat you'd like to take a closer look at, which can have mixed results depending on the age of your children. Yeah, these seats are all day comfortable. I mean, it's exactly what you'd expect in a minivan, right? I mean, you get one of these because you're driving long distances. And these seats are great. Good butt cushion support, good lumbar support. I've had zero issues from my messed up back, so I am a big fan of these seats. Also, from an interior standpoint behind the wheel, the 10.1 inch, I think it is, infotainment screen looks nice. And I kind of like Uconnect. There's a lot of cool features, a lot of good stuff that you can do My only complaint is that even though the screen is 10.1 inches, some of the button presses, some of the areas, the landing areas, I guess you would say, for your finger, are kind of small. And so it takes your eyes off the road maybe just a split second more than you would like to. Oh, and speaking of buttons, the surround view camera on the Pacifica is good. It's not great. It's mostly high definition, but it has sort of a distorted view and it gets quickly washed out in the dark or bright light, so it's just okay. But my main complaint here is that all surround view systems, all of them, listen up automakers, all of them need a dedicated button somewhere to instantly access them. I do not want to have to press the menu or the infotainment or go looking for the surround view when I'm in a parking lot or I'm waiting in line, with people all around me and I'm trying to get a space that's just opened up. In the second row, you have these dual screens featuring Amazon Fire TV, and each screen has its own separate connection so you can plug in other media, and it has its own separate remote control, which will probably be lost within the first 3 days of you bringing a Pacifica home. There's also a third zone of climate control, which can be accessed by its own separate panel, or more importantly, it can be locked out by the driver if you have those kind of kids. But sadly, as Mrs. Jax mentioned, the second row seats are not heated, which at nearly $60,000 does seem like a little bit of an oversight.
Okay, well, we have to think of some good things about this one.
I don't love the way it looks, but I never like vans, so there's really nothing about the outside I like, but there's nothing I like about any van, so let's go past that.
So what do we think about the way the Chrysler Pacifica looks? Because even though Mrs. Jax isn't really big on minivans, personally, I think this is second only to the Kia Carnival in the looks department. I think the Toyota Sienna is maybe trying just a little bit too hard, and I've definitely never been a fan of the way that the current gen Honda Odyssey looks. It's kind of a mess. Chrysler did a good job here, kind of playing it safe, but also making it look like the classy one of the bunch. And it has a rear light bar, which is always a win in my opinion, until they jump the shark and become cliche, but until then. Now, I want to talk for just a second about the most impressive aspect of this vehicle, in my opinion, as an enthusiast dad, and that's the powertrain and the way that this thing drives. Chrysler and Stellantis need to take every engineer who was involved with the Pacifica project and put them in charge of literally everything else. I have not been this impressed with a Stellantis vehicle in a long time, maybe ever. And let me explain to you why from behind the wheel. Yes, this powertrain. Shout out to this powertrain from behind the wheel because it is excellent. It's excellent. It's smooth. It's powerful, it's efficient. I'm a big fan of Toyota hybrids, and this is one of the most Toyota-ish hybrid or plug-in hybrid vehicles that I've driven. In fact, I would say that in Stellantis's, Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler portfolio, this is one of their best powertrains. And it might not get the love it deserves because it's in a minivan, but this is one of their best powertrains. It's been so quiet, you can barely even tell when it's switching between EV and the V6 engine. It's just fantastic. And if you don't know what makes up this powertrain, it's a 3.6 liter V6 with 2 electric motors providing the EV propulsion and assistance in hybrid mode, and that's running through an EVT, it's the CVT, automatic transmission. Now the downside there is with this setup, the Pacifica is front-wheel drive only. So I know some of you northern folks up there who prefer all-wheel drive for inclement weather will find that lacking. But for those of us that live in the south, it's not a big deal. Well, most of the time it's not a big deal. And this powertrain combo makes 260 horsepower, has 32 miles of EV range, averages 30 plus miles per gallon in regular hybrid mode, and it gives the Pacifica a theoretical range of over 560 miles fully charged and fully gassed. Now, I'm on the Handley Road right now going over the really bad part, and if you're new to the channel, the right side of the car is getting hit with a bunch of undulations, and the left side of the car is not. It's on smooth pavement. And the Pacifica handles this really well. The way that this thing drives is one of its strongest suits. All of the primary controls are superb. Like, the steering is relatively quick and accurate. Also, can I just take a second to highlight, this thing has the most ridiculous steering wheel I've ever seen in a minivan. It's awesome. It's this like thick, sporty like steering wheel. Whoever decided to put this into the Pacifica, high five. Like, well done. This is an amazing steering wheel for a minivan. But this road stinks, and the Pacifica is doing a very nice job kind of sorting everything out. It's comfortable. It's firm enough that I'm not getting all flopped around and getting head tossed, but it's soft enough that I'm comfortable and I'm not feeling these impacts. My only dynamic downside is the brake pedal feels like you just stepped into a bowl of warm oatmeal. There's zero feel, it's incredibly mushy. Stopping power is fine, but the brake pedal feel itself is awful. And I would also say that for something that is a plug-in hybrid, which means that you can drive around in EV mode, I wish it had a more aggressive like regen mode. You lift off and it just coasts like a normal car, which is fine, especially if you're not looking to have an EV experience. But for those of us that enjoy EVs, I would kind of like to feel like I'm recapturing a little bit more of that energy, that there was sort of a meaningful, I don't know, trade-off to the brake pedal's terrible feel. But there's a sophistication to the ride and handling balance, the way this thing steers, the way that this thing is tuned. There's a sophistication here that I think is missing from some of Stellantis's other products. I mean, you have to get into something with more dedicated driving intent, like an Alfa Romeo, to really feel like there's a purpose for the way it's engineered to drive. And to be singing the praises of something like this, like the Pacifica minivan, just really shows you how dedicated the team that's putting this thing together is, and how well they know their mission of making the best minivan, because that's kind of this thing's reputation. Oh, and one other thing I want to mention while I'm behind the wheel is that the safety systems in this thing are fine. They're great. They're fully comprehensive safety systems, just like you get in most cars these days. But the collision warning is a little bit overzealous, that we'll say. I've had it go off twice in full panic alert, and it's loud. I mean, it is loud in this thing. I don't want to like duplicate it, but like, it is loud in this thing. You are not missing the collision warning chimes in this car. They're not even chimes. It's like the collision warning air raid siren.
What just happened?
But it went off when there was a car up ahead of me, put on its blinker to turn right, and he had 1,000,000 hours to turn right. And so I didn't really decelerate because I knew he was gonna make the turn before I ever got there. And the Pacifica was like, but what if he doesn't? He did. We're fine. Competition in this market segment is pretty cutthroat, and even though the Toyota Sienna was surging in the past couple of years, the Chrysler Pacifica remains the sort of undisputed minivan champion, and I think there's a good reason why. It has the space of the Kia Carnival, as well as some of its good looks. It has the efficiency of the Toyota Sienna hybrid, and it has the practicality of the Honda Odyssey. But it does sort of have one Achilles heel, and that is price. You used to be able to get the cheaper Voyager model, but unfortunately for 2023, Chrysler is discontinuing that, so you can only get the Pacifica and the Pacifica Hybrid. This one, as you see it here, stickers for about $59,500, which is, you know, in the neighborhood of $5,000 to $7,000 more expensive than some of the similarly equipped top-shelf Honda and Toyota models. And maybe more importantly, depending on how value-oriented you are, it's like $10,000 more expensive than a similarly equipped Kia Carnival, although you have to remember that the Kia Carnival cannot be had as a hybrid, definitely not a plug-in. Is it worth it at that price? Well, for many people, yes it is. I mean, the materials and the interior quality is pretty good, the driving dynamics and experience are superb, and then on top of all of that, you have the efficiency of the plug-in hybrid powertrain. Keep in mind that this one is fully loaded, and if you skip some of the options, you can start to get that price down to kind of a more competitive level. For example, if you ditch the rear seat entertainment system, Come on, just let them use the iPad, Mom. And you also forego the S trim line package thing, which is fine, it's not all that great. Then that brings the price down to about $55,000, which is much more palatable. And guys, at that price, the Chrysler Pacifica will continue to reign as the champion.
Overall, 3 out of 10 for looks, but that's a 3 out of a 3 really for vans. 8 out of 10 on space, 9 out of 10 on interior looks, 9 out of 10 for comfort. I liked it. Throw some heated seats in the back and she's a real winner.
Guys, I hope you found value in this review. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing or sharing this review with someone you think would find it useful. Also, check out my other minivan reviews in the description and click on one of the videos on the screen to dive into another playlist or review. It's the best way to help the channel. Till next time, drive safe. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
Do you smell? Are you picking down what? Are you
Picking down?
Are you picking up what I'm throwing down?
I don't know if anybody is at this point.
Why is it making a funny
I
noise?
have no more subscribers. We have no more money to buy you a new car.
No, subscribe, subscribe, ring the bell, and
So
I'll
you
do
can
more
get
videos.
that Land Rover.
Yeah, well, I drive an 85-year-old Suburban right now, so I really need something new. Where's the button to make it go down?
On the pillar.
Okay, I don't love that. I feel like it makes more sense for it to be here, no? So I've got to reach under,
Yeah.
press the button, and run out?
Yeah.
That seems bad, but that's not on just this car. That's on a lot of cars, so I like it better on the thing. Did I do good?
A prop rod? A prop rod? This thing costs almost $60,000, Chrysler. A prop rod? Come on.
Hi. That sounded terrible. Are you going to delete that?
Well, that wasn't how we're supposed to start.
What?
We're supposed to start with me saying keep an open mind.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh, I don't want to keep it up in mind.
Well,
We'll
wait.
start again.
Yeah.
Okay. Can those go in the blooper reel?
We're getting plenty of bloopers.
Oh, look, a cyclist. My favorite.